अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मेरा नाम शामीन आरिफ एआई वाली है। मैं रेहान कॉलेज की स्टूडेंट हूँ एज अ फैसिलिटेटर। हाय चैट जीपीटी।
Of course, I'd be happy to help with that. What kind of information are you looking to include? Are you thinking about a general introduction, specific academic achievements, or maybe extracurriculars or goals? Let me know what you'd like the focus to be.
What does the term positive thinking truly mean, and how is it different from simply ignoring problems or pretend that everything is fine even during difficult situations?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So, positive thinking is really about choosing to focus on the constructive aspects, even in tough times. It's like maintaining a sense of hope and resilience while still being realistic. It doesn't mean you ignore the problems. Instead, you acknowledge them, but you also believe that you can get through them. So, it's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about balancing clear eyed realism with a hopeful outlook.
Okay. What do you believe our mindset has such a powerful influence on our emotions, decisions, and relationship and overall quality of life? And how can changing our thoughts change our future?
Absolutely. I really do believe that. Our mindset kind of acts like a lens through which we experience life. When we approach challenges with a growth mindset or with optimism, we tend to take more proactive actions, make clearer decisions, and build stronger connections with others. And when we shift those thoughts, we often start to see new opportunities and take steps we might not have before. So over time, it really does shape our future.
Okay. How does negative thinking develop over time, and what are some common life experience or habits that cause people to develop a mindset?
Yeah, that's a really important point. Negative thinking often develops from repeated patterns, like when we experience a lot of setbacks or stress and we start to expect the worst. Common habits that fuel it might be ruminating on mistakes, surrounding ourselves with negative influences, or just not challenging our automatic thoughts. But the good thing is, once we notice that pattern, we can actively practice things like mindfulness, gratitude, or just questioning those thoughts to shift the momentum.
Okay. Can you explain what it means to reframe your mindset and why is reframing considered one of the most difficult and effective techniques of overcoming negative thoughts and limited beliefs?
Yeah, definitely. Reframing your mindset basically means consciously changing the way you interpret a situation. So instead of seeing a setback as a failure, you might reframe it as a learning opportunity or a step in your growth. It's considered one of the toughest techniques because it requires a lot of self awareness, practice, and effort. Our brains are really used to defaulting to familiar negative patterns. So it takes intentionality and repetition to shift that perspective.
Okay, how can a person recognize that they are trapped in negative thinking partners, and what are the first practical steps by should take to replace those thoughts with more positive and realistic one?
Yeah, so one of the first signs is really just noticing your automatic thoughts. Like if you catch yourself always expecting the worst or being really hard on yourself. Once you spot that, a practical step is to slow down and pause. Ask yourself, is this thought really true or is it just a story I'm telling myself? Then you can start to reframe by finding a more balanced perspective, something that's still honest, but also more hopeful. And then just practice that. Over time, it gets easier.
Okay, what role does self-talk play in shaping our confidence and self-esteem, and how can train ourselves to replace negative inner dialogue with encourage and improving and thoughts?
Yeah, self talk is huge. It's basically the soundtrack of how we view ourselves. If it's consistently critical, it can really chip away at confidence and make us second guess ourselves. To shift that, we can consciously practice replacing those negative phrases with more supportive ones. So, for example, instead of saying, I can't do this, you might say, I'm learning and I'm getting better. And it takes repetition. So, the more we catch ourselves and the more we intentionally reframe, the more those positive inner dialogues take root.
Okay. Many people face failure in life. How can positive thinking help someone view failure as a learning opportunity instead of a reason to quit or lose hope?
That's a really powerful shift. Positive thinking doesn't erase the pain of failure, but it helps you see it as a signal rather than a verdict. When you reframe failure, you can ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What skills or insights will I take forward? And by doing that, you keep the focus on growth rather than on self doubt. So each failure becomes a stepping stone instead of a dead end.
Okay. How does practicing gratitude help shift our focus from what we lack to what we already have, and why is gratitude considered a powerful tool for developing a positive mindset?
Yeah, exactly. Gratitude kind of acts like a mental anchor. It pulls us away from always focusing on what's missing and brings our attention to what's already good in our lives. And that shift in focus helps us see abundance, not just scarcity. Plus, when we regularly reflect on what we're thankful for, it actually rewires our brain to scan for the positive, which is why it's so powerful in building a positive mindset.
Okay. Can positive thinking improve mental health by reducing stress, anxiety, and depression? And if so, what scientific and physiological reasons support this idea?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of research showing that positive thinking can reduce stress and anxiety. Psychologically, when we focus on positive outcomes or practice optimism, it reduces the activity in the stress centers of the brain, like the amygdala. And biologically, positive thinking is linked to lower cortisol levels, better sleep, and even stronger immune systems. So it's not just a feel good idea, it's really backed by science and can foster real mental resilience.
Okay. How can changing the way we interpret and challenges and setbacks help us become more resilient and emotionally strong during difficult times?
Yeah, that's such a big piece of it. When we start seeing challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities to grow, we build this internal confidence that we can handle setbacks. We stop feeling like victims of circumstance and instead see ourselves as capable problem solvers. And that mindset shift, in turn, can help us bounce back faster, stay motivated, and keep a sense of purpose, even in tough times.
Okay, what are some daily habits that people can practice to strengthen positive thinking and make optimism and natural part of their everyday life?
Yeah, there are some really simple habits that can help. For example, starting each morning by writing down a few things you're grateful for really sets a positive tone. Also, taking small reframe breaks, like pausing when you notice a negative thought and actively shifting it, helps. Engaging in regular mindfulness or meditation, surrounding yourself with supportive people, and even setting daily intentions can all make optimism kind of a habit rather than just a fleeting feeling.
Okay, how important is the environment we live in, including our family, friend, workplace, and social media, in shaping our mindset and influencing our thinking patterns?
Oh, it's really important. Our environment acts like a constant input. It shapes what we see, hear, and even how we feel about ourselves. If we're surrounded by positive, supportive people, that lifts us up. But if we're constantly on social media filled with comparisons or in a toxic workplace, that can drag us down. So being intentional about who and what we surround ourselves with really shapes our mindset.
Okay, can positive thinking improve physical health as well as mental health? And what are some examples of how a healthy mindset benefits the body?
Yeah, absolutely. Positive thinking is linked to better physical health too. For example, people with a more optimistic mindset often have lower blood pressure, stronger immune systems, and they even recover faster from illnesses. And beyond that, it's like a ripple effect. When you feel better mentally, you often take better care of your body, you sleep better, you exercise more, and overall, you just experience a more vibrant quality of life.
Okay. What are the biggest misconceptions and people have about positive thinking, and why is it important to understand that positivity is not the same as optimism?
Yeah, that's a great point. A big misconception is that positive thinking means ignoring problems or just always being happy no matter what. But that's not it at all. Positive thinking is about being realistic and hopeful, not just naive optimism. So by understanding that, we give ourselves permission to acknowledge challenges, but also believe in our ability to handle them. So it's a balance, grounded in reality, but focused on possibility.
Okay, how can a student develop a positive mindset that help them overcome academic pressure, examination, stress, and fear of failure, while stay motivation to learn?
Yeah, that's so crucial for students. One big step is to focus on the process rather than just the outcome. Celebrating small wins, progress, and effort. They can also practice self compassion, reminding themselves that setbacks don't define them. Setting realistic goals, breaking tasks into smaller steps, and taking mindful breaks all help. And staying connected with a support system like teachers, friends, or even a mentor can keep them motivated and grounded.
Okay, what message would you like to share with people about the lifelong benefits of positive thinking, and why is developing a growth oriented mindset one of the most valuable investment anyone can make in themselves?
Absolutely. I'd tell people that positive thinking isn't about denying reality. It's about choosing a mindset that focuses on possibility and growth. When you cultivate that growth